I also like to talk about some of the rules in the area. So a lot of times people get upset when they see fish being taken, or whether it's speared or net or on the line or whatever, because a lot of times with visitors they think, oh, isn't this where everybody goes to like look at fish, and why are they allowed to do that? But we all know that people who grew up here, that's where they've been fishing that spot since they were little kids, and now they're in their 60s and 70s. They're not going to change just because somebody wants to fly in and look at fish for a day. So it's good to know the rules, so that when people come up to you and say, oh, are they allowed to do that, you can say yes or no and explain why. And if the answer is no, they're not allowed to do that, then you guys know who to call. The DOCAR would be the first people to call. Sometimes I like to call DAR first and confirm that what I'm seeing is actually not allowed or is allowed. What you can do, if you want to learn more, you can go online, or you can go down to the DAR office and pick up one of their little fishing regulations packets. And this has every regulation for every type of fish and every type of crab and whatever for all of the Hawaiian Islands. It has all the different marine life conservation districts. It has the fisheries management zones and their coordinates, and it has what's allowed in those areas. And this is sort of a synopsis, and this is actually only a synopsis. So they have a disclaimer here saying like, oh, just because you saw it in here doesn't mean we can't bust you for it, sort of. But basically, this stretch is part of a fisheries management area or a fish replenishment area. And some of the rules, this rule is statewide. It's unlawful to take, break, or offer for sale or whatever coral with any implement. There's various interpretations as to what implement means. So like if someone's pulling up a big Kool-Aid net or something and they yank coral, they probably won't get in trouble. If someone's out there with a crowbar, they probably still won't get in trouble, but they shouldn't be doing that. Then for this stretch, and so this map, this is Paniao Cove down here, and it's very hard to tell on this map, and this has always been an issue. It's very hard to tell exactly where the boundaries are. It's easy here. It's from the boat ramp straight out along the line of the boat ramp out to the edge of the fringing reef, and they don't really define what that means either. Otherwise, it's about 250 yards out from shore. And then this bottom line is a line due west of Paniao Cove. Well, is it from that end of Paniao Cove, or that end, or from the middle? It doesn't say. I think there are GPS coordinates somewhere, but I don't have a GPS map or anything like that. But in this area, fish feeding, recreational fish feeding is not allowed. Nobody really does cultural fish feeding anymore, because if you did, it's something you need to do every day. You'd have to have someone responsible for that. People used to feed Kool-Aid balls and Opalu balls so that they always had them in a certain area. But in general, that practice is gone. Fish feeding, like casting the line out with live bait, and they eat it off your hook. That's not considered fish feeding. That's not considered recreational fish feeding, anyways. In this area, nets are generally okay. So there's a lot of different kinds of nets, and this is one of the areas that causes a lot of confusion at Kapalua. Scoop nets are small, or hand nets, are any of those little nets on the poles that you see. As long as they are less than 3 feet in any dimension, being how long the mesh is, how big the hoop is, or how long the hoop and handle is, as long as it's less than 3 feet, it's okay, it's not prohibited. Larger nets, I don't really know of many people who have big, large nets that they're going like this with or whatever, but those are generally not allowed. Another type of net is the lay net or gill net, and this is one that is not allowed in the Puako Reef area. These are nets that you'll see, it's a rectangle, long rectangle, and it has weights along the bottom and floats along the top, and it'll have 2 floats on either end. And the fishermen will set that out, and this is how salmon are caught up in Alaska, the Pacific Northwest. And basically they lay it across where fish travel back and forth, and they swim into it, and they get tangled up and they can't get out. So that type of net is not allowed in this area. But another type of net you'll see is a throw net, and this isn't a real one, this is just sort of a sample, but it's a circular net with lead weights on the bottom and a ring, and you'll see them, they got it over their shoulder like this, whatever, and they'll throw it out from the shallows out onto the flats. And this type of net is allowed in this area, in this Puakau Reef area. So you guys sort of get the difference between the two. So throw net, and because they're throwing it, and here we call it a lay net. In other places it's called a gill net, but it's called a lay net because you lay it out somewhere on the reef and just let it sit for half an hour or whatever. And then I guess the last thing, other types of fishing like hook and line, spear fishing are allowed. And then permit, they always have a caveat for permits along certain types of things. Actually, forgot to scratch that out right there. Okay, so yeah, no aquarium collecting there. That's right? There's no aquarium collecting on. Okay. It's the rules are so, I don't know if any of you guys have ever read them. Let me kind of give you an example of what it says. It says prohibited to, for commercial purposes, to possess aquarium collecting gear, take or possess marine life with such gear on an unregistered vessel or without a valid aquarium permit and a commercial marine license. So what the signs say is no aquarium collecting, but what this says is no aquarium collecting on an unregistered boat or without a permit. But then it also says it's prohibited to take aquatic life for aquarium purposes between sunset and sunrise, which makes me think, okay, so during the day it's legal, but you just told me it's not illegal, or it's not legal. So sometimes you can't decipher these with their literal meaning. You kind of have to just go to an authority and say, is it allowed or is it not allowed? And they will tell you it's not. Okay, so Wailea Bay has different rules. So Wailea Bay is not part of that fisheries management area. This is a marine life conservation district, but it's a little bit more lax on rules than other places. So in here, again, it's unlawful to take or damage corals. It's unlawful to feed the fish. It's unlawful to aquarium collect in this area. It is legal to fish with a pole and line. You'll see this on the signs down there. But all types of nets are prohibited, so no throw nets, no lay nets, and then spears are not allowed in the bay. And they do have a provision that allows you to bring like knives and shark billies and carbon dioxide injectors and stuff, but I don't really see too many people like Ramboing it up out there on the beach, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that stuff. And then again, permits allow certain types of things. So for example, if there was a desire to get rid of roy in that area, you might be able to get a permit to get rid of them there, or buy spear or net or whatever method you want to use. Any questions on that? So I know sometimes it's not what you like to hear, that your favorite areas that you like to go, it's allowed to take all the fish there, but two different user groups, us being, well, I don't know, sometimes we're both, but there's the group of us that like to just look at the fish and we like to see them there, we like to see more of them, we like to see them healthy, and then there's a group of us that realize, that's a food source and, eat those fish, so all of the management or whatever that you want to do in the future has to be a balance.